In 2019, 6% of Americans worked from home. 2020, 35% of American workforce discovered what it was like to work from home, whether they wanted to know or not. And in a Pew study done in December of 2020, 75% of them now say they'd rather quit their jobs than return to the office full time. People are getting entrepreneurial fever. 55% of entrepreneurs are reporting in 2021 that the biggest motivation to start their own business is because they want to be their own boss. Freedom, autonomy, the ability to work towards their own goals instead of working towards someone else's. Yes, there is some risk involved, but the odds of small businesses surviving their first year is at an all-time high of, get this, 80%. And that number has been steadily on the rise from 30% in the 70s. Small businesses are making a major resurgence, and the age of the well-informed and conscientious consumer is only just beginning. The opportunities right now to be of service to communities you want as customers are everywhere, especially as we all emerge from a worldwide upheaval. Brands are needed at the front lines to bring us new solutions for a wave of problems we're facing right now for the first time in the pandemic. We also need brands to help bring us back together, help communities reunite through shared love of your brand and what your brand stands for. A brand is the only way that a company connects with its customers on a really deep personal level. And anyone can build a great brand when they have a great product or service and the willingness to go after the hearts of their customers. Worried about the risk? Yes, entrepreneurs take risks. But it may interest you to know that studies reported in 2021 found that 54% of self-employed entrepreneurs say they make more money now, and 97% of self-employed professionals say they would never go back to traditional employment. So, with risk comes great reward. Taking the leap to spearhead your own brand means you are ready to do what you love. Congratulations on making that first very daring and exciting step towards loving what you do. You couldn't have come at a more important moment in history. In 2021, the opportunities for entrepreneurs to become an inspiration to millions have skyrocketed because of the pandemic upended life as we know it. And as we all work together to collectively heal, we are realizing that many things will never be the same. And as one thing in particular has shifted drastically, people are now going to be expecting it a lot more from their relationships with the brands they support from your brand. You can feel it, can't you? And you can feel it because entrepreneurs are experts in human happiness. Did you know that about yourself? Now you do. Pretty cool, right? Step into that. You're an expert in human happiness. Feels good, doesn't it? The product or service you're striving to bring into existence is going to make people's lives better. You've identified a need within humanity and you have this calling to meet that need. It's pretty amazing. I want you to answer that call. So on that note, let's get right into it so you can soar past them on your journey to becoming an inspiration to millions. The number one thing you should not do as an entrepreneur is not do what you love. Look, when it comes to being an entrepreneur, there really is no such thing as failure. There really isn't. You can just let that fear go right now. As an entrepreneur, your path to success is largely unmapped, and trial and error is vital to your process. That's just the facts, okay? Mistakes are not failures for new entrepreneurs because mistakes are providing useful information that become the stepping stones. Of course, whenever we can avoid mistakes or better yet learn from someone else's mistakes than our own, then it's like, okay, great, let's do that instead, right? Which is why I'm putting today's episode out there for you, so you can avoid this major mistake that many entrepreneurs are making in 2021. But there will still be mistakes. Don't worry about it. Mistakes are part of the entrepreneurial process that will lead you to your success. And after a while, they get kind of fun. In fact, there is only one way for an entrepreneur to truly fail, and that is to give up. Winston Churchill once said, "Success consists of moving from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm." I love that. And so, how do we sustain that level of enthusiasm when the first few years of breaking into entrepreneurship so often feels like you're just mainly working to overcome obstacle after obstacle, one after the other, after the next, right? Well, the answer is to love what you do and love how you do it. Steve Jobs once said, "The only way to do great work is to love what you do." If you haven't found it yet, keep looking. Don't settle. As with all matters of the heart, you'll know it when you find it. Are you listening? Because this is a huge one for many of you. You don't need to have a lot of money, a lot of experience, a college degree to be successful, but you do need a great idea. Some startup funds, a solid prototype, and a stellar business proposal. In 2011, the founder of PayPal, Peter Thiel, paid 20 students under the age of 20 $100,000 each to launch their entrepreneurial careers. Can you believe that? But there was a catch. If they wanted to qualify for the grant, they had to drop out of school to get it. It's called the Thiel Fellowship, and a lot of people weren't happy about it. Larry Summers, former president of Harvard, announced that it was the single most misdirected bit of philanthropy in this decade. And he also claimed that it sent the wrong signal to a broader society. And one of those signals it sends is that higher education isn't the only path to success. Thiel argues that a college education is grossly overpriced and for most people, and responds, how did we ever get to a place where we have a one-size-fits-all society? I think we need more diversity and some genuinely different paths for people. Well said. As of today, the most successful recipient of the Thiel Fellowship was 19-year-old Mark Zuckerberg. College degrees are useful. No one's saying they aren't. And having a college experience can be an amazing, life-changing event. But that moment in time where it was absolutely necessary for a person to have a college degree in order to be successful in business, that time is gone. A survey done by Guidant Financial discovered that 30% of entrepreneurs don't have college degrees. Did you know that? And only 18% of entrepreneurs have master's degrees in business. Times are changing. An entrepreneur with an idea that is going to be of service to the world, make it a better place, make people's lives better, and they have the drive to pursue that ideas that matter to them most, matter to us most. And in today's business climate, pursuing those ideas doesn't always mean spending loads of time and money in the classroom. So, if you have that great idea, start creating opportunities for yourself to generate startup funds. Create an amazing business proposal. If your innovation is a product, start putting together your prototype. If your innovation is a service, start your own surveys. Gather information from your ideal audience to show potential investors that your service is needed and that there is an interest. Try to keep in mind, in these beginning stages, that your idea just has to work perfectly once for one person, and then you can start scaling it from there, one person at a time. Some of the most vital parts of building a business are free. You can start building your brand, start connecting your brand with your ideal individuals, and start circulating your brand name throughout your community through acts of service. Many of the foundational aspects of brand building require learning some techniques, more than it requires spending a lot of money. And I'll put a link in the description below to take you into more step-by-step detail for how to build your brand using the 10 landmarks of branding. Yeah, this is a really big one, right? And it isn't even number one. Entrepreneurs are free. That is the common perception anyway, isn't it? That once you don't work for someone else, then your time is your own. And you know what? Yeah, it's true for the most part. And it's pretty sweet. You see, there's a streak of rebellion, a certain edge that every entrepreneur has. An entrepreneur's mind is always searching. We are observant and curious. We know how to roll with the punches, and we don't like being told how to live. It's this rebellious quality that keeps us questioning the norms and uncovering exciting new innovations. We love our inner rebel, and we are proud of the way we resist being tethered to someone else's desk chair. We don't want to tame our inner rebel. But it's also a rebellious nature that can get us caught up in a poor time management, lower productivity levels, and lead us into the void of procrastination. But hey, there's a flip side to every coin, right? And while the upside is that there's no one telling you what time you have to be at work, the downside, no one is telling you what time you have to be at work. Our rebellious nature keeps us fresh, keeps us curious, and allows us to keep our cool, not take life too seriously. But where it can start to work against us, or where we stop taking ourselves seriously. That's the key. It can feel awesome to rebel against the cultural conditioning of having to work on a schedule that is determined by someone else, a superior. But when we start rebelling against the schedules we put in place for ourselves, that's when our entrepreneurial freedom stops feeling so free. If this sounds like you, or this is something you're currently experiencing, or even this is something you're concerned about happening to you in the future, then I suggest you immediately raise the stakes. Answer this question. What's your big why? It's not just to be successful, okay? Or merely to make money. Those things are nice, but they're just the byproducts of fulfilling your big why. When you take yourself seriously, there's no such thing as lowered accountability. Bottom line, you have an idea that will make millions of people's lives better. Are you just going to sit on it, get around to it tomorrow? Or are you going to assume accountability for the happiness of these people who are going to leap at the opportunity to give you their money in exchange for their products or your services that you've created to help them live into their greater futures? How long are you willing to let these people wait? Not to mention yourself. The work of an entrepreneur is a labor of love. That's the real freedom you have as an entrepreneur. The freedom to love what you do and love how you do it. Yes, entrepreneurs are free to decide when they want to work and when they want to play. But any entrepreneur, such as yourself, who is determined to come out of nowhere in 2021 can tell you from experience that being free doesn't mean you have more free time. What it does mean, however, is that no one but you has the right to set a price for the value of your time. Investors are looking for businesses that are opening people up to whole new worlds. And I'm not talking about outer space. Yes, companies like SpaceX are literally attempting to shoot for the stars, but there are business models of creating new and exciting ways to do things that we've always done. In this case, travel. That is not a new business model. SpaceX combined their resources to build privatized rocket ships that can now be contracted out to NASA to complete various missions with less time spent on the painstaking details of organizing the launch. And although interstellar travel is still several years away from being a reality, SpaceX is using this time to begin to normalize the idea of space travel for the average person. SpaceX and the others are larger than life examples of private companies who disrupt their industry, poke a little pin in there, and who create a whole new frontier for their ideal individuals to explore. Airbnb did the same thing for the hotel industry. Uber created a similar reimagining for transportation industry by combining their resources with the resources that already existed, namely people with cars, and then using these combined resources to connect with the people who need rides. Take some time to really think about how your private business model can be influenced by this highly sought after way of creating a whole new world within your industry. Think about how you can frame your business proposal to emphasize these areas that have garnered increased investor interest in 2021. When building a proposal to attract investors, answer these 3 questions for yourself first. How will my business create broader access for my investors? Brainstorm ways your products or services have the potential to expand out into several different markets. Determine if your brand or service creates a new platform that could potentially create new opportunities for other brands in other industries, and be able to demonstrate these things clearly to potential investors. Where can I infuse my brand culture with the superpower of diversity? Brainstorm bold moves for your company to not only embrace diversity, but also showcase your company's dedication to diversity through your community. Don't wait for shareholders to request access to your company's diversity data. Instead, wear it like a badge of honor. Extend it out to include environment as well as social measures, and give these metrics a place of high honor in your business proposal. Investors will notice. Ask yourself, how can my business showcase itself as a true innovation? All innovation really means is a new method for doing something familiar. One of the chief brand building technique points that I share with all my clients is to be new but familiar. A balance between new but familiar. The newness is your product or service, and what is familiar is the need that product or service fulfills. Other brands have found ways to meet that need, but what makes your brand's way new and exciting? To answer this question, look at the outcome. In life, when we do things differently, we get different results. Determine what is different about the results your ideal individuals, your ideal audience will experience from choosing your brand over all others. And when building your business proposal, be sure to feature those new and better results so the true innovation behind your idea really shines and stands out for potential investors. Thanks for watching. Don't miss out on a single thing. Subscribe below. And here's something else I think you'll love.